Once upon a time, there was a village located in Tanjung Batu, between Berau and Bulungan regencies. The village was called Bunyut. According to the stories of the old people, the women in the village were known for their extraordinary beauty. At that time, marriages between gods and mortals were not uncommon. As a result, many demigods inhabited the earth. Among the people of Negeri Bunyut, there lived a man named Puan Si Taddung. He was tall, well-built, and strong. Moreover, he was famous for his wisdom and intelligence. Because of this, Puan Si Taddung was highly respected by the villagers. One day, when Puan Si Taddung and his companions were hunting in the forest around Tanjung Batu, the villagers were suddenly attacked by robbers, pirates from the Solak nation of southern Mindanao. Their possessions were looted and houses were set on fire. Those who dared resist were killed. Armed with a machete in his right hand and a spear in his left, Puan Si Taddung and his friends drove the pirates away. One day, Puan Si Taddung went hunting alone. Unlike usual, he did not encounter any game. Normally, after a short walk, he would find animals like deer or antelope. But this time, not even a bird flew overhead. The next day, Puan Si Taddung went hunting again. However, just like the previous day, he caught nothing. Normally, he would have at least caught 2 or 3 partridges, or even a deer. At night, Puan Si Taddung slept soundly. Towards morning, he dreamt of meeting an old man with white hair and beard. The old man said, "Go hunting tomorrow. If you hear the sound of a deer, follow its tracks. You will find something that will bring you happiness." The next day, Puan Si Taddung went hunting alone. After walking for hours through the dense forest, climbing mountains and descending valleys, he finally spotted a beautiful golden yellow deer. Remembering the old man's words in his dream, he followed the deer's tracks. Eventually, he arrived at a picturesque mountain slope, covered with trees of vibrant colors. The deer disappeared from his sight. Suddenly, Puan Si Taddung heard the sound of women laughing and joking. Surprised, he wondered who could be living in such a quiet and desolate forest. He cautiously walked toward the sound until he reached the edge of a lake on the mountainside. To his astonishment, he saw 7 beautiful women bathing and joking together in the water. As he looked around the lake, Puan Si Taddung noticed piles of clothes hanging from nearby trees. He recalled the old stories about angels flying from heaven in their celestial robes. At that moment, he decided to hide one of the angels' clothes. Because the angels were enjoying themselves, laughing and bathing, they did not notice a man was spying on them and hiding one of their clothes. As dusk began to fall, the angels started preparing to return to heaven. They happily went to the tree where their clothes were hung. Each took their clothes, put them on, and flew into the sky. However, one of the sisters, the youngest princess, was still searching for her missing garment. Her sisters helped her search everywhere, but the clothes were nowhere to be found. After a long search, they were unable to locate them. The 7 angels cried and mourned for their beloved younger sister's fate. They were afraid that traveling at night would be dangerous, as many evil creatures roamed the skies. They then discussed whether to stay on Earth until the morning or leave their younger sister behind for the night and return the next day with new clothes for her. Finally, they decided to return to heaven at dusk and promised the youngest that they would return the next day with new clothes. With heavy hearts and tears in their eyes, they parted ways. The youngest princess was left behind while her 6 older sisters returned to heaven. When Puan Si Taddung arrived at the edge of the village of Negeri Bunyut, her friends, as well as the young and old villagers, were ready to welcome her. They gave her a warm applause to celebrate her return along with a beautiful angel. The angel was astonished as the people of Bunyut greeted them with such joy. After spending a few days in Negeri Bunyut, the villagers agreed to marry Puan Si Taddung to the angel. Over time, the angel forgot about heaven after marrying Puan Si Taddung. They were blessed with a handsome son whose face resembled his mother's. A few days later, the time for the grand harvest festival arrived. The people celebrated joyously. Various games and performances were held, accompanied by dances and songs. As the time for the festival neared, Puan Si Taddung spoke to his wife. "My beloved Adinda, this year it is Negeri Bunyut's turn to host the annual Irau Turon as a sign of gratitude for this year's successful harvest. Negeri Bunyut is fortunate this year because the harvest has been bountiful. Therefore, the Irau this year will be held in this land. According to tradition, the women of the host village should dance to enliven the celebration. Because of this, I hope you will be willing to help me by dancing in the Irau celebration this year. My dear brother, I am not skilled in dancing or singing, for in heaven we are always busy worshiping and praising the Hyang Batara Dewa, asking for blessings and protection for the lives of the gods in the sky. Adinda, do not be so modest. The people of the world have known for ages that the inhabitants of heaven are highly skilled dancers. They knew that angels were the most beautiful of God's creations and the most skilled dancers among all his creatures." The angel replied, "Won't you regret it in the future if something happens because you granted my request?" Puan Si Taddung answered, "Why should I regret? I should be proud that you will bring honor and blessings to this land and its people." "Very well, if that is your wish," said his wife. "But I have one request. Return my heavenly clothes. Only with those clothes can I perform the dance." "Very well, Adinda. I promise to return them to you in due time." As Irau approached, guests from surrounding villages began arriving in Negeri Bunyut. Rangga Batara Tua and Si Kanik Tua, accompanied by their people, also arrived. At that time, the previously quiet land of Bunyut became very crowded and busy. They were preparing for the grand celebration of Irau. The time for the peak of the Uptai festival arrived. The angel, Puan Si Taddung's wife, was about to perform her heavenly dance. This dance would bring life to the closing day of the Irau celebration. Everyone wanted to witness the performance. This time she would dance in her original heavenly clothes. She moved her hands and feet slowly, smiling at the audience. All eyes were glued to her graceful performance. Without realizing it, the angel's feet no longer touched the ground. She floated higher and higher. The audience remained mesmerized. When she was about 7 meters above Puan Si Taddung, she stopped dancing and said to him, "Kakanda, don't regret this. It is fate. Today we must part. Take care of our child. If he misses me or wants to, nurse, give him the bunyut fruit. The tree grows in the forest. Its fruit is the size of a guava, and the tree is as tall as a rambutan. Tell him to suck the fruit so he doesn't cry. I must return to the heavens." Hearing these words, Puan Si Taddung remembered her earlier warning. The angel flew back to heaven, The people were heartbroken, especially those who knew her well. They grieved for the child who was still nursing. The village elders and leaders comforted Puan Si Taddung. From then on, when the child cried, he was given bunyut fruit as his mother had instructed. That is the origin of the name Negeri Bunyut. It is said that after the kingdom of Barao split into Bulungan, Gunung Tabur, and Sambalyong, the descendants of Puan Si Taddung moved to Sewakung and later married into the Sambalyong royal family.